Certification Center commits to a higher standard. Certification Center commits to a higher standard.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are joining us from today. Welcome everyone to today's information session, proudly brought to you by the HR Certification Center. My name is Silas Appiah and I'll be your moderator for today's conversation. Okay, so today we are excited to actually delve very deeply into the topic of HR certification, and today we are putting a bit of a twist to it. For today, we have two of our certified candidates on the call, and we seek to pick their minds on how the experience before HR certification was and how HR certification has impacted their practice. Also, we have the Executive Director of the HR Certification Center with us, and we'll be delving very deep into the topic of certifications. So stay with us to the very end. Today, before we begin, I'd like our speakers to just do a quick introduction of themselves, and we will be able to know who is speaking and be able to understand from what perspective they are speaking from. If you are joining us, let's hear from you and where you are listening in from. Let's know if it's Adjoa from East Legon, if it's Silas from Kaswa. Just put it in the chat or the comment section and we will give you a mention. Okay, so I'll let our Executive Director do the first introduction before we hear from other speakers. Madam, you're welcome.
Right, Silas, good evening, good afternoon, or good morning to you and your listeners. We are glad to come your way once again. Probably this is about the last info session for the cohort we are enrolling. And so if you're on the call, you are the fortunate one. At least we would be giving you some information to make your decision on your professional journey. Silas, I'm glad to be here. Like you mentioned, my name is Tehoda, and I'm the Executive Director for the HR Certification Center. My duty at the center is very simple: to offer myself, my competences to make the center what it ought to be. And of course, if there is anything you know about the HR Certification Center, is the fact that we are set out to provide professional education for HR practitioners to become certified HRs. Not just certified, but also to ground you, for lack of a better word, to be able to practice or to do your work effectively and efficiently. And so I'm glad to be here. As we go into the conversation, you'll get to know more about the HR Certification Center. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for being on the call, Tehoda, the Executive Director for the HR Certification Center. Today, we have a guest with us. There are actually two. And the first person is in the person of Sandra Nate. Sandra, can we just know who Sandra is? When we hear Sandra, who exactly is Sandra?
Okay, thank you very much, Silas. My name is Sandra Nate. I am a senior HR advisor with the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. This is my 12-year practice in HR. And I believe as we go on, I'll say more about myself. I am really excited about today's event, especially, being connected with the HRCC. It's a great opportunity for me. So we'll get to know more as we go up. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much for being on the call, Sandra.
Yes.
Bringing a wealth of 12 years of experience to this call, I know very, very, very well that this conversation is going to be very insightful. You're welcome. And
thank you.
Other speaker is in the person of George Gyebeng. George, tell us about you. Who is George?
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everywhere. Thank you, Silas, for having me, and then to Madam Pearl, and then Sandra. Greetings to you all. I'm George Gyebeng. I'm currently an HR officer with COA Impact Ghana Limited. I'm still a baby in the HR profession, having done the past 4 years in HR, practicing HR, and I'm someone who is dedicated to cultivating a supportive workplace culture and then enhancing organizational achievement. And it's been a great journey practicing HR, and I am happy to be here as well to share my journey so far with my other colleague, and then we'll get to know more as we delve deeper. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George. It's nice to have you. So to our audience and everyone on the call, I want you to know that our guest speakers are all certified candidates, and which means they've gone through rigorous months of training, sat the professional examination, and now they are internationally certified. If we were in person, we would have given you a round of applause, but since it's a video call, it's virtual.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll just take a quick overview. Take a quick overview from Pearl Tehoda. Pearl, what exactly is HR certification, and why the need for HR certification in the first place?
Right, Silas, thank you. So I'm pretty sure that for our listeners on the call or for our audience, you've heard about someone being a chartered something or someone being a certified something. So the likes of being a chartered marketer or a certified marketer, the likes of being a certified strategy professional, certified project management professional. So all that we want you to know, or simply put this evening, is the fact that whatever profession you are in currently, there is a certification. What does certification mean at all? For people who have gone through academic studies, and after academic studies, you find yourself in the work space or the workplace where you are practicing a certain career. Whatever career you have chosen, that is what you want to practice. And so whatever you learned from the classroom, whatever knowledge that your organization has offered you, you put that together to build a certain skill for yourself that helps you to practice or to do the work you're doing effectively and efficiently. All right. Now, if there's anything we need to know at all, knowledge is evolving or information is evolving every now and then. So whatever we learned in the classroom some 4 years ago may not necessarily be relevant to the practice of whatever you are doing at the workplace today. So professional certifications would come in to upskill the knowledge you have already. All right. So if you are practicing HR, professional certification in HR will come to upskill your knowledge in that area. So it's a body of knowledge that one must commit to. So when you come through our lectures, for example, you would go through from module 1 to module 6. That put together becomes the body of knowledge that you have to go through, upgrade your knowledge, sit a professional exam, and then when you pass the exam, you have a credential. So there are some alphabets put behind your name. That is what makes you a certified HR. Now, I want all of our listeners to know that beyond the credentials, I know that is what is trending now. So you are called Pelpi Tehoda, something, or you are called something, Pelpi Tehoda. That is what is trending. But for us at HR Certification Center and being committed to certifying HR professionals, we are not only looking at the credentials, all right? We are looking at our ability to build confidence for you to know that this is my legally chosen profession. I have acquired knowledge and I am committed to doing the work and doing it well. You do it without fear nor favor. You know what you know and you will defend what you know. That is the confidence. We are also building competence, all right? So for you to be called a chartered HR or for you to be called a certified HR, you must come to the table with knowledge, competence, proven, tested, and you are practicing, and you know that you are working within the remit of the law. You are working within a globally a global standard that is guiding your profession. You are not double guessing when it comes to the practice of HR. When it comes to people leadership or people management, you are not double guessing. That is a competence we want to build for you. And finally, when we talk about professional HR certification, as we offer at the HR Certification Center, we are also looking at building credibility for the practitioner. Credibility to know that this is the ethics of the game when it comes to people leadership. And I am doing it, and I am doing it full chest. So for us, we are looking at your confidence in the practice of HR. We are looking at your competence, your knowledge, applied, proven, tested. That is your competence. And we are looking at your credibility. If we call you a certified HR, you must defend those letters behind your name. All right, not when you have the credentials and then when questions are thrown at you, you are now thinking, do I know, don't I know, should I go and ask this person? No. We want to build that credibility for you to be called a certified HR. So simply put, that is an overview of what we call professional certification. And by extension, not just in HR, but whatever certification you are holding currently, you must be able to demonstrate confidence, competence, and credibility in that certification. So that's what I will put across as an overview of professional certification.
Okay, Pearl, so as you were speaking, you made mention of 3 key points. You spoke about confidence, competence, and credibility. Now, I understand that the trainings done by the HR Certification Center are actually 3. So there are 3 different certification programs. What are these certification programs and what makes them unique or valuable on the market globally?
Right. So currently, the HR Certification Center, we are offering 3 certification, as you mentioned. We are offering the Associate Professional in Human Resources International, which we call the APHRI. We are also offering the Professional in Human Resources, which is the mid-level, which is the PHRI. Then we are offering the Senior Professional in Human Resources International, which is the SPHRI. Now, these certifications are standalone. What I mean by standalone is that you can have the Associate Professional and still go into industry and practice. You can have the Professional, still go into industry and practice, same as the Senior Professional. They don't necessarily depend on each other, but sometimes we have some of our practitioners, after practicing with APHR for a while, now they've advanced in knowledge, they want to come and test the other level. So whichever level you are in your practice, there is a certification for you. So for the Associate Professional, it's the entry level of all the certifications, all right? So we call it the foundational level. And what we are saying is that you really do not need an HR experience. So you've practiced something, possibly administration, which is closely linked to HR. You've done operations for a while. You've done marketing, but really marketing is not your thing, but you want to go into HR, but you do not have any experience in HR. So the foundational certification, which is Associate Professional, comes in to help you understand the practice of HR from the entry level. So we talk about the HR operations, we talk about recruitment and selection, we talk about learning and development, we talk about compensation and benefit and all of that at the foundational level. So that is the Associate Professional. So you just need a first degree, no HR experience, and you can still go in as a certified HR to practice. Then we have the mid-level, which is the Professional in Human Resources. You need a first degree plus 2 years HR experience. HR experience, you've been able to manage somebody's work, you are in charge of the input into the person's performance and all of that. That put together, we call the HR experience. 2 years of that will qualify you to do the mid-level, which is the professional. Then the senior level is reserved for people who are into making HR decisions, formulating HR policies. So we call them the Oga at the top. So with a first degree and 5 years of HR experience or 5 years of people management experience, you qualify to do the senior professional. Now, Silas, I know this has become a battle for a lot of people. When they call, the first thing is, I want to enroll for the senior professional. But really, if you've not practiced HR for a while, you do not fully understand the practice of HR, not just at the entry level, not just at the foundational level, but your ability to take an organization and design an HR policy for that organization, your ability to go to ESCO meeting and defend people management to your board or to your CEOs and all of that, for them to buy into your decision, your ability to strategically position people to deliver on product promises, that doesn't come at the entry level. So people would have 2 years of work experience and they want to start off at the senior level. What we are doing, like I mentioned from the beginning, is to be able to build credibility for you. So you are not just holding a certification, but you truly understand what it means to position yourself as an HR manager, as an HR director, to defend the people bit. So when we talk about human resource, we are talking about a valuable asset of an organization that must be positioned to deliver on product promise. Now, Silas, when you come to our organizations, we have different types of resources. We have the financial resources, we have the technological resources, then we have the human resources. And if I ask you right now, which of these resources will form the larger chunk of what delivers success for every business is the human resource, all right? So we want to position the one who is in charge of that resource to be properly grounded, understand the ins and outs of managing people, leading people, so that you can come and pursue the senior professional. So we are a bit keen on who comes into the senior professional class, not just so we want to cut off some people, but at the end of everything, when you go out there, you are holding a certification that you can confidently defend. So these are the 3 certifications we do. Now, why is it relevant globally? So the certification we do is the International HR Certification. All right, so our certification comes from the Human Resource Certification Institute in US. What it means is that's an international body that has designed this certification for people across the globe to pursue. So you can be in Ghana, you can be in Nigeria, you can be wherever, you can find yourself in the US, you can find yourself in the UK, and you can still practice with this particular certification. Locally recognized by the regulator, which is CIHRM, and globally recognized by all the bodies for the practice of HR. So you notice that when you write the credentials, there's a certain I, a small I at the back. What it means is that the international version, wherever you are, currently recognized in over 135 countries. One certification recognized in over 135 countries. And we have had a little over 11 countries currently gone through our certification, not just Ghana, but across the globe that have gone through the certification. So wherever you are, you go through the International HR Certification and you can practice and stay relevant and be committed to the standard set by the certification body. I'm sure I've answered your question.
You have done that, Spell, to become relevant to the industry you find yourself in. So this is just a quick reminder to our audience. If you have any questions, kindly do well to put it in the comment section or the chat box. And when it's time to take the questions, I'll read each and every one of them out so that they'll be answered by our speakers. Kate, I can see your question. Apusia, I see your question. David, I see your question. So let's keep them coming in. All right, this question goes to Sandra. So her has shared a lot about the certification, making us understand the need for being globally certified and being relevant in the space you find yourself in. But personally, as someone who has gone through the program, what motivated you to pursue HR certification in the first place?
Okay, so about 8 years ago, I came into contact with a group of friends who were HR certified. They didn't do the SPHRi, it was another certification. But then I realized that they were different. The way they approached HR issues, they always had a global perspective to it. You could see that they were thought leaders in the field. They had learned. You could see that there was something pushing them. They were all for continuous professional development, and I was intrigued. So sometime last year, I decided that, you know what, I am going to take the certification. But I started having some hindrances to that one. And then some way, somehow, I was on LinkedIn, and then I came across the certification center, the HRCCA. And I realized that they also, offered this international certification. And I decided to place that call, and Pearl picked up and she just gave me the information I needed. We were put into a WhatsApp group. And with time, as I was still skeptical, but I was like, you know what, let me just go for the open day. At least one more day to be convinced whether I should go ahead with this certification or not. And when I went for the first day, I was blown away, literally, by everything that I experienced. The support was just out of this world. It was great. And aside that, I felt I needed to also prove myself as an HR professional. I felt that I needed to validate my years of experience with a credential. And this pushed me to take the course, and I'm glad I did it. I think it's one of the best things that I've done in recent years. I'm happy I took this certification program. Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting. I like the part where you said they spoke from a global perspective. It seems that
Yes, yes,
they were thought leaders, even though you
yes.
were all HR practitioners.
Yes, it was all about international best practices. That's where their focus was. It was not really about what was practicing so much about what was practiced in Ghana. You could just see that they had a global outlook about a lot of things. And I was like, no, I really want to be like that. Yes. So that's what motivated and pushed me.
Wow, that's so good to hear. And George, what about you? What motivated you to pursue HR certification?
Yeah, thank you, Silas. I think this began from the whole personal development appraisal that I had with my line manager, where I informed that I want to pursue my master's degree. And so he was the first point of contact who introduced me to certification. So when he mentioned, why don't I certify? I didn't know what it was. So I gave it a shot. I did my research and I realized that to grow in the HR profession, you need to practice it daily and they need to be very diverse. So I had this research and I came across HRCC. And then before that, we had a leadership meeting where Dr. Jeff Bessie was our facilitator. So I got the first glimpse of HRCC, and then I did my research, and I realized that this is where I want to align my HR knowledge in to get international standard and also to demonstrate my competence beyond the local practice. So I also placed a call, and then Ann Berta assisted me. She gave me all the information that I needed, and then I applied for it. So here I am, and I'm loving it so far.
That's so good to hear. One
Yeah.
thing that stood out to me from both contribution is you all did your research and you were exposed to HR certification. And after you joined the center, you've never regretted it. It's good to hear. And now to tell, from what George has shared, from what Sandra has shared, who exactly is eligible for HR certification? And I think you mentioned the requirements and the other things, but there are other things where people are confused. Which one should I choose? And at what time should I choose what? If people are not given the opportunity, like George, to have a line manager to talk to them, how can they make such a decision?
Right. Let me start off by saying that I owe George's manager a chocolate. George, please remind me. I'll give that to your manager.
Yes.
Jokingly, I think that when we hear stories like this, where the conversation is not just about the manager knowing it all, but the manager empowering his or her team members to also know it so that collectively they can grow the organization, we are happy. You see, knowledge is diverse. You don't need to carry that burden alone. If your team member is powerful and you are also powerful, together you are able to do so much more. So when I hear stories of my manager is always shielding information from me, doesn't want me to know this, doesn't want me to get that. And I sit back, I was like, really? Are we going to grow if we are going on that tangent? So, George, kudos to your manager. And I will come back to Sandra, 12 years of experience. There is something in there that I want to tap into, right? But Silas, back to your question. Who can take, who is fit to take the professional HR certification? My answer will be everybody or anybody who is passionate about people leadership. I'm intentional about the words I'm using, not just people management, but people leadership, because gradually we are moving away from managing people to managing relationships and agreement with people. But we rather lead people to influence them, to empower them to do so much more. All right. So anybody who is passionate about people leadership can come in to do the professional HR certification. I mentioned from the beginning that with no HR experience, there is a certification for you, except that you have to start off from the entry level, which is the foundational level. That is APHRI. No HR experience and a first degree, you qualify to go through the foundational level. You can build on that. Then you can pursue the mid-level or pursue the senior level. For people who are already in the field of HR, practitioners, you've practiced for 2 years and you have a first degree, you can come in and enroll for the professional level. Then for the senior level, you must be in the practice for 5 years, and then you have a first degree. If you have a master's, you only need 4 years of HR experience to qualify. Now, for our line managers, when we talk about the practice of HR, HRs do not perform the function alone. They perform the HR function with line managers. And by line managers, I'm talking about other heads of departments. So we have the marketing manager, we have the operations manager, we have the finance manager, we have, all other managers in the business. Yeah. They also perform some HR roles on behalf of the HR manager or the HR director. So let's take, for example, giving people their target for maybe a month or a quarter or for the year, whichever plan that works for your organization. This line manager must be trained to understand how to set target with the person involved or the person who will be performing that target. You cannot just go sit in your bedroom or sit somewhere and design something and come and shove it down my throat. I must be in agreement with whatever that is being designed, all right? So that is the line manager performing some HR function, isn't it? Then when it comes to managing the performance, so work is done, we need to review your performance. How far have you come? How well are you growing in this role? How are you upskilling yourself to be able to do, future roles? That is also the work of the line manager. And the line manager must collaborate with the HR manager to ensure that these things are done properly. That's an HR function. Then when it comes to the issues of discipline, so an employee misbehaved in the marketing department. If you are the marketing manager and you are properly trained and positioned, you can have conversations around discipline. What must be done, what is stated in our handbook, what is in our policy, that when you do XYZ, this must be done to you. So you do that at the initial stage before you go to HR to say XYZ. Or when the thing happens, how do I inform HR? Do I understand the processes I must go through? Or the thing is done and immediately you are issuing suspension. Meanwhile, suspension in itself is punishment. When you haven't done any investigation, you cannot punish the person. All right. So line managers also perform HR roles. And so when you look at our database, you find a lot of line managers coming through the professional certification because they want to understand how they can position themselves to manage the people in their team. So non-HR practitioners, HR practitioners, and line managers can all come through the professional HR certification. All you need to do is speak with us. Let's understand your background, your experience, and then we help you take a decision, or we help you make a decision on which level you should enroll for. So that is what I would say qualifies somebody or makes you fit to enroll for the HR certification.
All right. So line managers, non-HRs, and HR managers are all qualified to be able to take it because the focus is leadership. Now, Sandra,
Yes.
Back to you. Can you share some of your study experiences? So you made us understand that you did your research and then you decided to study with the HR Certification Center. Now, can you share some of your study experiences and how you were able to balance studying especially adults education, learning as an adult and working. How are you able to balance these two things?
Oh, it was both intense and rewarding. I tell you, because the last time I
I like
had done
that.
anything with, this length of time was when I did a diploma like 10 years ago. I done my master's like 18 years ago, but we did a diploma in industrial relations. That was like 18 months. That was the last time. That was like 2015. So this was like, and now you have family and everything. It was not easy, trust me. But I think once you pay your money, it gives you a certain sense to commit. Once you pay, you decide that, look, hey, the time is ticking. I have to put in the work.
Yeah.
So obviously, when we started off, we had a very large study group. But once we paid, a bunch of us came together. So I had like 2 study groups, one for the month that we're writing. So we wrote in June of this year. And so all the June people, we had a study group. Then I had about 3 people. And we would go through, and I think we went through almost like 900 past questions before the time. We had to break the how do you call it, the study material into bits. Each of us would take, and it was intense. I mean, I remember my son telling me, "Mommy, don't do any exam again." I felt it, but I was determined to pass once and for all. And also not just, I was not previous studies, so you're just chewing and pouring. No, I wanted to understand concepts for myself. So I was not just learning for the exam, I was learning for the knowledge, and it made a lot of difference for me, and apart from the past questions, and I had support from family and friends. Sometimes you get overwhelmed, you call some of the facilitators, they would encourage you. Some would meet one-on-one on Google Meet, and they'll give you questions, let you know where you are. It was a fantastic experience, if you ask me. I got the support, but the support was there, and I also had to put in the work. And I'm happy I did, and it turned out well. Yeah, that's how the learning journey went. In summary,
It sounds like you were very intentional about it.
I had to be. I don't know, but in my study group, I don't know how people saw me. It's like, when you tell people, oh, I have this exam, it's really, oh, for you there, we know you passed. I didn't get much compassion, So I have to prove that, well, the fact that people believed in me, I had to do this for myself, to put in the work, and I'm glad I did.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. That's very, very, very inspiring. And I noticed that when you said once you pay the money, you're automatically needed to keep learning. I saw that George could relate to it. George was laughing a lot.
Of course.
Was it the same thing for you?
Yeah, of course. I can relate to what Sandra mentioned, and even like at the part where you have to pay again if you fail the exams. I wasn't ready to.
Nope.
So for me, it was 3 things: strategy, discipline, and then consistency. That was what I made up my mind that I had to deliver. So what do I have to do? I have to have a steady plan. And first of all, I had to understand my learning style, because coupling work with school studies, it's not an easy task. So I understood that I am someone who is a listener, who is a visual, and then a kinesthetics person. So I had to learn whilst writing, making notes, listening to audios and videos. So I had that plan. Anytime I go to work, I play the recordings, which are sent to our emails. And thank you to HRCC for always doing that. It was a great source of material, which also helped me. And then when I decided to write, my colleagues, they were not ready. So I'm like, so finally I had someone who also came to my DM, and then I'm like, okay, she's ready as I am, so let's do it. So we had a meeting on our calendar. After the special tutorial session, we have another session. So this is what we did. I would take module 1, I'll read module 1 for the whole day, and I'll explain in the evening. The next day she would do module 2 and she will explain. So we both did that exchange, that engagement, and it helped out a lot. it helped us a lot. So the study partnership was great. And then for me, mostly when I'm studying, I make references. So I use highlighters to highlight the salient points for revision sake. So going back, it's very easy for me. And then also the special tutorial class by HRCC was also superb. Courage was so calm and patient. He answered all the questions. That man knows everything.
Yeah.
In fact, every question, he was so glad and patient to answer us. And it was a source of motivation for us.
Yeah.
You know, he took us through all the processes with the exams, the preparations and all. So it was very intense. It was very intense. And above all, I had my personal study schedule, which
Yes.
I had to make sure that all the functional models, business management, workforce planning, to total rewards, employee engagement, whatsoever, HR information, I have read all the models because
Yeah.
I didn't want any surprises. And I wasn't ready to pay for, how do you call it, the insurance.
Yes.
I wasn't ready. Yeah. So I made my mind that
Once and
I'm
for
going to
all.
nail
Yes.
it. Yeah. So it was the consistency for me, to be honest. It was the consistency, the discipline.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would close from work, get home around 10 p.m. and I still had to read my notes. Sometimes I open my laptop, listen to the videos, and then I'll fall asleep. I'm like, time wasted. But it was all good. It was the consistency for me, I would say, Silas.
Wow.
And Silas, to add
Yes,
to what
Sandra.
George said, I mean, at that point in time, some things had to give, you know, like social activities. I mean, some funerals had to give. We had to send Momo in lieu of funerals so that we can sit and study. You know, we couldn't go for every single activity and all that. But, you know, it was just like a sacrificial period of time. You just had to sacrifice and get this done. You're doing this for yourself. And I believe that it will always pay off at the end. I noticed, I realized that, you know, a few friends plus myself who passed, there was this seriousness, you know, there was, I'm going to go through, like George said, the consistency. I'm going to study something every single day, no matter how I feel, I'm going to go through, and it paid off, and it paid off. So for me, the socials also had to give a bit, and with the support of family, it paid off. Yeah.
Excellent.
George mentioned one of our facilitators. George mentioned courage, and
Courage.
I want to build something from there. Sandra,
Yeah. Yes.
what was your experience with our facilitators?
You see, for starters, it's like the fact that we're going to sit from 9 to 3 o'clock, I was just wondering, will I get bored and start dozing off? Thank you guys for providing the coffee. It did magic. But trust me, if there was no coffee, there was no way I was going to get bored, because the facilitators were super engaging. I mean, their sense of humor, the way they engaged us in exercises in the class. I enjoyed my Saturday. So, I mean, trust me, you guys can do that for alumni. We'll come back and just come and do precious. It was really engaging. And for somebody like Courage and Stephen and the rest, I mean, you could call them, I don't understand this concept. Meet me on Google Meet. We would have, you know, question and answer sessions. They will explain things to you. It was a support. It was like, hey, I'm going to help you till, you know, you pass. And they were there. They were there, you know, throughout. I mean, you have excellent facilitators. They know their stuff, and that really helped us in our work. I feel George would have the same sentiments. You chose the best. For me, that's what I can say. Yeah.
Wow. So, for you, George, I want to ask, how has becoming a certified HR actually impacted your practice? Now, Sandra has mentioned good facilitators, how she's been able to learn a lot, gain enough knowledge, and not knowledge to just pass the exam, but to practice as well. How has it been for you?
All right, thank you, Silas. I think certifying goes beyond just having the certificate. It's about you delivering as it's supposed to be. So for me, at my workplace, I have these 3 principles. I have to be free, fair, and then firm. So in all decisions, I had to put a human first to it. And then we come to what the policy says. So there's a pattern, consistency in delivering, especially when it comes to employee disciplinary. I've had a major role to play in my organization by making sure that the principles of natural justice, due course, due process, we go through it all. You don't have to set a query and then punish the person without listening to the person. So for me, it's about going through everything step by step, because once you jump one step, you're going to get it wrong. You're going to get it wrong. So practicing has been a rewarding journey for me, especially in my organization, having the opportunity to lead leadership sessions, workshop for the team, and every aspect of my role. When it comes to compensation as well, at a point we had some bit of challenges. I helped develop something that had impacted the whole organization. And also when it comes to information management, how to have confidentiality purposes for HR information. So I've gained a vast HR knowledge, which I'm using it to my advantage, being a professional in my organization.
Wow. That's very encouraging to us
Yeah.
as a center. And what about you, Sandra? You practiced 8 years before you even heard about HR Certification Center. Am I right?
Yes. So for me, let me just
what
tell
has the
you.
experience been? Yeah.
See, certifying is a very humbling experience because one, apart from the fact that you've done well and you've passed, it lets you know that there's still a lot to learn. And suddenly it has just turned me into a lifelong learner. It will interest you to know that, we have 60 recertification points. I'm already at 30. Every day I'm listening to a webinar, an article on LinkedIn. It's like you're hungry. You really have to learn. I was talking with Courage and he told me that, look, Sandra, the best way to be a thought leader is to read, to learn about your field. That is the only way you can be credible in your field. And that's the only way you can come out and people would listen to you. It was like, look, every day I spend time to go into HR to see what is new on the landscape. Because if you don't do that, obviously you'll be obsolete and every single day things are changing. AI is not making things easier for us because you have to catch up, So for me, it has given me a deeper commitment towards continuous professional development. And I have also become an advocate for my colleagues. So like right now, I'm on their heels. Those who have been certified, cohort 40. I'm always calling one person or the other. When are we doing this exam? How can I support you? I'm happy to say I supported a few friends and they have passed. It's just pushing everybody. Let's do this together so that we can become relevant in our field. So that's what this certification has done for me. I no longer think about operational stuff a lot. I'm thinking more of strategic. How can I become a true business partner? How can they see HR not only as a cost center, but as a true driver of change, one that brings value to the table? That is where I am, and I'm for it. I'm just going. Yeah, that's what the certification has done for me. Yeah.
That's big. That's big. Let me go to Pearl. Pearl, right now there are people on the call, and after hearing these experiences and stories from Sandra, from George, how HR certification has impacted them, how they were able to combine work with studying, all these ups and downs. They are wondering, what is in for me? And if I even want to join this HR certification program, how can I go about it? What is the registration process, Pearl?
Right, Silas, our registration process is very, very simple, right? Just a phone call away, just a WhatsApp away. When we say our hotline, it's a hotline, and we don't miss out on that number. That number doesn't go on break, it doesn't go on hibernation, it doesn't go off, because we understand that the people we are serving are very busy professionals. When they take the decision, they want a quick response to make the process very seamless for them. So it's just a matter of sending us a WhatsApp on 0244 122 855. 0244 𝐂𝐞𝐫𝐭𝐢𝐿. Once you drop the WhatsApp, our admission officers will be on standby. They will respond to all the inquiries or questions, and then they would assist you to get your registration through. What is in it for you is value for money. Silas, certifications across the world is not cheap, it's not easy. We at the HR Certification Center, we thought about the environment we are in. We set very competitive pricing. And what we do is that we assist you and make it very easy on your pocket. So the total fee for, let's say, SPHRi is 9,600. You are able to pay the 9,600 one-off. You can spread it into 2 installments, or you can even pay on monthly installment basis. That is how flexible our payment system is, so that you don't only yearn for certification, but you are able to position your pocket to support that decision that you have taken. And at the end of the day, like your colleagues on the call are saying, Sandra and George, at the end of your training, you have to come to that point where you said, oh, I really got value for the money I paid. You see, at the HR Certification Center, it's not just about training you to have the certification. Otherwise, that we can do it within 2 months or 3 months. Train you, get you through how to sit the exam and go. But at the end of the day, how do we help you build credibility if we don't help you to understand the practice of HR? There are some people that are good at chew and pour, pass and forget. So they will pass, have the credentials behind their names, but when they sit right there in the middle of the workplace and questions are thrown at them, they come across challenges, they are unable to provide solutions. So for us, you would get that value for money. And one of the things we do at the center is that we support you throughout your stay with us. So you are with us for 6 months. And whatever time you decide to sit your professional certification, we do our best to support you. So anytime you pick a date to write the exam, there is a special prep that we do for you. We help you to understand the concept. We help you to be able to practice. So questions are set, you go through it, you disagree with this one, then the facilitator is able to assist you to come to terms with why this concept is right or why this answer is right. That is the support we give you when you decide to study with the HR Certification Center. So very simple registration process, 0244-122-855. Once you send us a WhatsApp, our admission officers will respond to you, take you through the registration process. And Silas, let me also put across that our next cohort, which is cohort 44, Sandra came through cohort 40.
40, I think. Yes.
Yes, that's a year
40.
ago. So the fact that we are doing cohort 40 means that 4 sessions. So we do a cohort per quarter. So 4 cohorts in the year. So our next cohort is cohort 44, which is starting on the 13th of September. 13th of September, so which is a Saturday. So at the HR Certification Center, we give you flexible learning options. So you are either doing the physical class on Saturdays. I know Sandra prefers the physical class because you have to come focus.
There's coffee, yes.
Yes. Today someone was sharing with me that, look, Pearl, I know online learning is what is helping a lot of people because the commute time in and out is a whole lot. Sometimes you have to commute like an hour and 2. But if she's given an option to choose, she will choose the in-person because there's no, I want this. There's nothing at home that is stealing your attention and all of that. So we give you a learning option. We understand that we are dealing with a generation that is older, and we also dealing with a generation that is younger. So the younger generations, a lot of them prefer the online learning because they are so versatile with this, online learning thing, and they have their way around it. Some of them are able to even optimize AI to take notes for them and stuff like that. So you either have the Saturday learning option, that is the in-person, or you have the online learning on Sunday. So whatever we do on Saturday, we do the same thing on Sunday, just to put both class at par. So we do that on weekends, so Saturday or Sunday, for the 6-month period that the learner is with us. So our next cohort is cohort 44, which is starting on the 13th of September. So once we take off, we give full orientation to the program, how you will journey with the center through your 6 months, and then we begin the lectures, and then we help you with some workshops along the line. The workshops are more to augment your learning in the modules, where we look at industry. So what is happening when we talk about social security and pensions? What is happening when we talk about HR analytics and all of that? Then we do multiple mock sessions just to help the learners to be grounded. Then when you finally pick your exam date, we take you through the special prep. This is our format of ensuring that you are learning, you are gaining knowledge, and you are grounded with enough skills to help in your practice, right?
Wow. That was very, very, very educative. Thank you very much, Bill. And I think this brings us to a very, very, very important part of the discussion today, which is the Q&A session. Now, I want to remind our listeners that this information session is proudly brought to you by the HR Certification Center, and our next cohort for international HR certification is the 13th of September, as Pearl rightly mentioned. Before we zoom into the questions we have in the comment section, let's take a quick word from our sponsors.
Certification Center commits to a higher standard.
Okay, so welcome back. And this is the information session, proudly brought to you by the HR Certification Center. Now, to our Q&A session. So Kate wants to find out, and I believe this will be open to all of us, Pearl, Sandra, and George. So if you have a take on it, you can just have a bite of the cake. So Kate wants to find out, and I think this will be best addressed to Pearl. Is national service part of the experience you mentioned in your presentation?
It's a yes and no. I'm choosing my words carefully. It's a yes and no. We have to look at what you did for your national service to use it as part of the experience. All right, so let's take, for example, somebody who did his or her national service in the HR department. That we would constitute, we use to constitute your work experience. So Kate, if you have, let's say, 2 years of HRS, or let's say a year of HR experience, and your national service was in the HR department, we can constitute that to form your 2 years. But you need to speak with us. Let's understand, first of all, your educational qualification. Then let's understand the other work experiences you have, so we can advise you properly, right?
Okay. So, Kate, if you are still on the call, there's a number scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Do well to pick it and then reach out to us, and an officer will be at the end of the line to assist you. The number is 0244-122-855. So the next question is from David, and David wants to find out, what if I have no experience, but I have MBA in human resource? Where will I fit?
Yes, Silas. So David will fit into the foundational level, which is the associate professional in human resources. because his second degree is in HR. Otherwise, if you have a first degree and no work experience at all, our admission officer will have to understand your educational qualification to advise where you fit. But if perhaps you have a first degree and you have work experience, but in other field, that would also help you to start from the foundational level. So David, yes, you have an MBA in human resource. If no work experience at all, neither not in HR nor any other field, you start from the foundational level. But if you speak with us, I'm sure the admission officer can better explain the qualification to you. But you know, Silas, interestingly, sometimes people have work experience, except that they feel as it wasn't in a formalized environment, and they don't use that, they don't constitute that to mean work experience. So I always want to probe, you know, so somebody reached out and the person has done, I wouldn't even call it internship. So there is, I don't come to your office, all right, but you've engaged me to provide services. So one person was doing more like consultancy work. The person has graduated, no work is coming, the person has gone on to do some level of research, and then an organization will engage your service that provide us with this, do a research in that. And it's all in the field of HR, but the person doesn't see it as an experience. And I said, no, that is an experience. So we just would help you to constitute it properly. Then we can use that for your experience. Sometimes people go on to do internship. And it's not just internship, the one we do after when we are in the university. So the person has finished, you know, MBA and has worked for a while, no work is coming. So you are in between jobs. And then a company says, we want you to come and help us with it. They term it internship. The person would have gone on to do that, but they don't want to constitute that to mean work experience. So it's important for our callers or our audience to speak with us. Let's understand the dynamics, then we would help you to fit into any of the certification. Like I mentioned, they are all stand-alone certifications. So whether you do the foundational, you can use that to practice. The mid-level, you can still use that to practice, but you can start off from the foundation, then you build on to the middle or to the senior after some years of HR experience.
Okay. So, David, it's very important to speak with us so that we are fully able to appreciate the situation you find yourself in. So, this question, I think either George or Sandra can take it. The person wants to find out, how long will it take me to go through this program or this training?
This it depends on you, because the certification center would give you what they have to give you. You know, when we came the first day, the Pearl said something that I never forgot. She said, 50% of the work depends on us. We will give you the support, we will give you the tuition, you will have excellent facilitators, but the other 50% is your journey. Some people did this tuition 5 years ago and they haven't gone ahead to certify. It's your journey. So you can start early, stay consistent, and take advantage of the resources you have and do this exam and get it out of the way. Because if you postpone it for one more year will come and you wouldn't have done anything with your life. So it's your journey. The earlier you start and you stay consistent and do it, all the better. So this is your journey. Yeah.
And George, would you want to add your voice to it?
Yes. Just a little to add. Just as Sandra mentioned, once I completed the tuition, I just took the exams. I didn't want any delay. So it depends on you how far you want to go. Because I wanted it so bad. So right after the tuition, I applied for it and then I began the preparation. So the tuition is 6 months and then the rest depends on you. So you choose the way.
Okay.
I think that if you give yourself a minimum of 2-3 months, you should be able to do the exam after the tuition. Once you decide that, let me pace myself, divide the workload into smaller chunks, get into excellent steady groups, take a leave, you would need it. tell your bosses early. I told my bosses in March. I told them in March that in May I'm out of the office. I'm telling you, in May I'm out of the office and nothing is stopping me. So tell them, give advance notice, take a good leave where you can rest and relax and then study at a good pace. I think between 2 to 3 months you should be able to do the certification and pass well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Sandra, the leave is very important.
I'm telling you.
I know. So Pearl, there are 3 certifications, okay?
Right.
And just as Sandra and George have shared, as a participant, it depends on how quickly you are able to learn and everything. But what about the center? How long has the center allocated for each program?
Right. So simply put, the associate professional, which is the entry level, you would go through tuition for 4 months.
Okay.
4 months for tuition. The professional, which is the mid-level, and the senior professional, you will go through tuition for 6 months. So 4 months for APHR, 6 months for PHR and SPHR. That's the tuition period. And like George and Sandra mentioned, the exam depends entirely on you. And I like what they both said. You see, after learning for the 4 months or the 6 months, the fire is so hot. You are eager, you want to do it. And you see, once the exam is pending, then your mind will come back to it.
Yeah, right.
If all our listeners
Absolutely.
are not, speaking people here. So you have to get yourself together to tell yourself that I want to finish my tuition 4 months or 6 months and give myself maximum 2 months. I want to be able to do it, take my hands off it and focus on something else.
True.
The longer you stay after tuition, the more you disconnect with the information.
True.
It's like having gone to driving school and then you've practiced and you are happy you can do it. And then for like 2 months, you are not practicing. There's no car to drive. 4 months, nothing is happening. By the 6th month, you want to accelerate, you go and press on the brake. So the fresher the information, the more the excitement for you to write. So like Sandra and Georgie said, after tuition, give yourself maximum 2 to 3 months and get it out of the way. Now, what if you are not able to write the exam between the 2 to 3 months? The center is so committed to assisting you. So whatever time you decide to do it, this is what we do. We either get you to come through the sessions again as a form of auditing the class so that you just update your knowledge. Then when you pick the exam date, we still will assist you with the special prep session, just so you are confident enough to go and sit the exam.
That sounds very, very helpful. So, Pearl.
Yes.
Beatrice is asking, after taking the certification course, do I still have to offer my master's in HR to be more experienced or professional?
Let me take it from what Sandra mentioned, I think the earlier part of her conversation. You see, the more you learn, or let me say, you come into contact with something new, the more you yearn to know more. From where I sit, I'm a certification provider. I won't say that stop learning after professional HR certification. All right. If you listen to our requirements, you need a master's plus 4 years experience to come through the senior professional. If the master's isn't necessary or it's not relevant, we wouldn't have stated it there as a requirement. Perhaps you come through the associate level or the professional level with the first degree. You now have certification. Go ahead, practice with it. Look for money, because the certification in itself is supposed to give you some, salary advantage. Look for money. Go ahead and do your master's. You may not need the master's today in your practice, but someday an opportunity will present itself that you would need the master's. So Beatrice, don't stop just at certification. Finish the certification, because that is shorter. 6 months you're able to finish. You give yourself some 2 to 3 months, you write the exam, go and practice with it, put your mind together and go and get your master's.
That's good advice. And I have about 3 other people asking questions similar to that. So I believe it has touched on most of their pain points. Now, Abid is asking, I have less than 2 years experience in HR, but with a master's degree in human resource management. I was the head of administration of a state-owned institution till February when I lost my job. Can I still pursue the senior professional certification program? In total, I have 14 years work experience.
Good. The answer is between the professional and the senior professional. We can push Adley to the senior professional if we can get the details of the 14 years experience. 2 years is into HR. And then she mentioned that she's been head of administration for a state-owned institution. That in itself is a higher level of practice. So we want to understand what Adelaide was doing within the 14 years. Then we can advise whether she will take the senior professional. But it's likely she's leaning towards the senior professional with the 14 years experience. Right.
So Adelaide, this is my advice to you. There's a number on the screen, 0244-122-855. Do well to reach out, and then an officer will be there to assist you, to actually guide you on which certification will be best for your journey. There's about eight or more pending questions in the chat box, and I'm looking at our time steadily. So we just take last 2 questions, and then we'll be out of here. If your question is not answered, kindly do well to reach out to us. The number still remains 0244-122-855. We'll do well to answer every question or any question that you have, including steps to register and then how to find the best certification for you. Okay. Now, Promise is asking. Promise reads, a member of Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria and ongoing my MBA program in Human Resources Management with 2 years of HR experience. Which level do I fit in, please?
I'm a member of the Chartered Personnel Nigeria, that's CIPM Nigeria, and undergoing my MBA program in HR with 2 years of HR experience. Promise you fit into the professional level, but the member, is it full member or associate member? We want to understand that as well. But with 2 years of HR experience, that is professional level. We want to put together your MBA. You're undergoing your MBA. Where are you currently in your MBA? Are you an associate member of CIPM or you are a full member of CIPM? We want to put all of that together to give you a proper advice. So kindly send us a WhatsApp 0244-122-855. Quite a number of WhatsApp messages are coming, but we will take time to respond to all of them. And that is the beauty of sending us the WhatsApp, because there's a trace. We can always go back and then you have the opportunity to ask further questions. All right.
Exactly. Felix is saying, great joining beautiful minds like yours. Likewise, Felix, it's good to have you on the.
We are grateful we are able to speak to you.
So Michael is asking, apart from gaining HR knowledge, are there other advantages of belonging to the professional body? This is very interesting. Before we touch on the professional body, I would like Sandra and George to answer the other advantages apart from HR knowledge. What are some of the benefits that come with being certified as an HR professional?
Okay, so I'll start by saying that in the process of recertifying, you get a wealth of knowledge because you are joining webinars, you are listening to like key thought leaders in the field. So before your next certification comes up, you are there because you learn to grow in your field, you know what is being practiced internationally, and you bring it home to your place of work. And that makes you relevant wherever you work. sometimes, I'm using some of these terms that I've learned, and everybody's looking at me like, hey, what's up? But and I also mentioned that it makes you an advocate. As I speak now, I have 3 of my direct reports. They are doing the PHR with the HRCC, and I'm happy that I was able to influence them to, also get this done. And then the networking, it's amazing. I'm waiting to get it properly into the Association of Certified HRs. And I know that it will open doors for me, when we have issues, because I'm on other HR platforms. Even with that, sometimes we have issues at work, we put it on these platforms, and the kind of responses you get, that people have advanced in their career, they've advanced in their knowledge. So certifying, one, it opens doors for you in terms of networking with other equally minded HR officials. And then you also learn to grow. You gain a wealth of knowledge through your recertification process. These are the 2 main things that leave with you. So think about it. 3 years from now, you'll be much, much better off than you started with. And then, you are also seen differently in your place of work. You are seeing your practice changes. You are thinking more strategically instead of just on an operational level. So these are some of the things that I know George would also want to add on.
George, do you want to add your voice to it?
Yeah, I'll pick up from the networking. I mean, it's really great connecting with minds who are very, very great, because you can share ideas and all that. And I believe that certifying also gives you that credibility, in terms of applying HR principles. You know that this is the right thing that you are doing. It also strengthens your knowledge and your motivation as well. It opens door for you many opportunities, just like us having this interactive session to boost our career. It's a great one. And for those of us who are seeking for global opportunities, this is the best moment for you to certify. Those of us who also want to work in the multinational companies, gaining the knowledge and insight in this certification will assist you in this journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George. And Promise has come back to respond to Pearl's message. So
Okay.
Pearl, Promise is the one who is in the Chartered Institute of
That's
Personal.
Nigeria. Okay, yes. So associate member. So we will put all together. Promise, just send us a hi. Because of this, I'm unable to pick all of the information here and respond. So just send a hi. This is Promise. Then we will take the conversation from there. Once I am done from here, I would relay the information with the admission officers, and then we can quickly help you. Promise.
Very well. Now, Ernest also wants to find out how much is the registration.
Silas, we almost missed on that. Okay, so we mentioned the fees. The registration is 200 Ghana cedis. 200 Ghana cedis to purchase your registration voucher. For our colleagues not in Ghana, 200 cedis, how much is that right now? That's about $20.
Yes, just about.
No, less than
$20 thereabout.
Less than $20. Yeah.
$20 or $22 thereabout. So 200 Ghana cedis, or let's say $20, you are able to purchase your registration voucher. That will lead you to the registration form. You fill in your details. And then for the tuition, if you are out for the associate professional, it's 1,050 Ghana cedis. 1,050 Ghana cedis per month for 4 months. Then the professional level is 1,400 cedis per month for 6 months. Then the senior level is 1,600 Ghana cedis per month for 6 months. Once you engage us on the WhatsApp, we will send you the fee information. And for our international student who want the fee in dollar, there is a dollar conversion that the admission officers will send to you quickly. Just in a matter of press of a button, you get all of those information.
Okay, thank you for that, Pearl. Now, this is the last one. David is asking, I have MSc in accounting and finance with 10 years experience as a payroll head for a multinational company. I want to register for this role. How do I benefit from this? Currently, I am an HR of operations manager.
So I want to register for this certification. He means he wants to register for the certification.
Okay.
10 years in an HR in payroll. I am currently an HR operations manager. For how long? We need to also understand that. Is it just for a year? Did you just start this year? Is it for 2 years? Let's understand all of that. Then we can advise. So the reason we are asking to understand your background is because we want to place you in the right certification. Because if we place you in the wrong certification, you will be in the class and you will be confused. And you may not be able to appreciate the information to even help you in your practice. Imagine that you have no foundation in HR, no academic background, no work experience, and then we push you to SPHRi. You'll be confused. Is either you will run out or you finish the program and there's no value for money. So we do all of these things so we can properly place you. It's important for you to just send us the WhatsApp, then the admission officers, because right here on the call, we can't spend so much time trying to understand the qualification. So if you send us a WhatsApp, we should be able to do that for you almost immediately.
So David is saying that HR operations is for a year.
It's for a year, okay.
Yes.
So for 1 year, less than 2 years, that's associate professional.
That's good. So David, kindly do well to send us a WhatsApp message, and then we'll take it from there.
But David's qualification or background is very interesting, right? 10 years in accounting, with MSc in accounting, and he's now switched to HR.
HR, yes.
Switch, you know. So we are positioned to help you because you are just starting off in the HR with no prior educational background. I think it's the right step that you want to seek knowledge. So let's help you to get into the right certification.
Yes. Okay. So wow, people are issuing threats in the comment section.
Answer my question.
You don't answer my question, you will rest.
Okay, so we'll take Nelson's question. Nelson, sorry about that. So Nelson is saying, I hold a master's in human resource management with 15 years experience in administration. What level do I qualify and why?
Senior professional. Yes, because master's in HR in itself is a good background. 15 years experience in administration is, you have seen HR in operation, you've experienced the development of HR policies and all of that. So that's senior professional. Nelson, was Nelson the one issuing the threat?
It's not easy. So Nelson just said, I have left his question out. Someone has issued a threat, but
okay. So Nelson, that is the senior professional level. But what we do is that once you send us the hi, we give you a little write-up about each certification. That is also a guide for you to know that I am up for this or the other one. So do reach out to the administrators. Right.
All right, you're welcome, Nelson. So I believe you left out the exams fee. Can you touch on that before we bring the session to a peak?
Okay. All right. So before we quickly move, today we've overrun our time by some 21 minutes because of the threats that are coming, but that's fine. Yes. All right. So for the fees that I mentioned, they cover the tuition. So the tuition is what you pay to us for walking you through the body of knowledge for either the 4 months or the 6 months. Now, when you are ready to sit the professional exam, if you are sitting the associate professional exam, it's $400 US. $400 US. The professional level is $495 US. Then the senior professional level is $595 US. Now, at what point do you pay this? Whenever you are ready to sit the international exam. So in the case of George and Sandra, 2 to 3 months you are ready, you pay your exam fee. For somebody, work is not permitting you to sit the exam immediately and you want to do it in a year, that is still fine. For so many years now, the exam fee hasn't changed. I think more than 4 years actually. It's just that our exchange rate has changed. It's come back to some stabilization, but the exam fee hasn't changed in more than 4 years. So $400 or $495 or $595 when you are ready to sit the professional exam.
Okay, thank you very much for addressing that question. Oh, so this is how far time will permit us to go. And I would like to, first of all, thank our guest speakers in the person of Sandra and George. And I would like to thank the Executive Director. We are very grateful for sharing insight on these topics and then actually sacrificing your time to be here to speak with us. I'd like to take your closing remarks before we draw the curtains for today. Sandra.
All I'll tell you is that, the certification is possible, it's doable, you can do it. Just start early, stay consistent, and then take advantage of resources like the HR Certification Center. And I am very positive that you will pass and you will be able to impact your HR world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandra. George, what are your final words?
I would say that certification is a powerful investment in your career. And once you make that decision, you need to be disciplined, go by your study plan, use the resources that will be provided by the center. I know it's a challenging journey, but then the reward is worth it once you stay committed to it. So I would encourage anyone considering it to take the step. You can make it.
You can make it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's very powerful. You can make it. Okay, Pearl, let's hear your final words.
Right, Silas, let me use this opportunity to say thank you to Sandra and George. You guys have been amazing for giving us your time. I mean, we're not paying you for this. You offered willingly to join us to share your insights for our audience to hear it firsthand from you, that you've experienced the center, how your journey has been. Thank you so much. George, I promised your manager that I was going to give him or her chocolate.
Yeah, I'll be coming to the center myself.
Because you have recommended your officers to also join this program. Silas, I will end off by saying that once you have chosen to be in the practice of HR, make it a point to keep learning and growing as an individual. You cannot succeed in the field of HR without learning and growing. Why am I saying that? You are managing, you are leading people, human beings that have minds of their own. We are not like animals. When you say move here, we move here. We are not like machines. You input something and we are supposed to produce a certain result. You tell us to do this today, we are doing. The next minute, we are asking you, why must we do it? Why should I be the one doing this project? So once you are leading human beings, you have to learn and grow yourself. And if you are an HR practitioner, one of the areas I will emphasize for you to grow in is the area of leadership. Your ability to influence people to do things willingly. It's a soft area, but it's now becoming more imperative than anything else. So if you're on this call today, make it a point, whether you are coming through the certification or not, make it a point to learn and grow. And the HR Certification Center, once you are following us on our social media handles, we offer free resources in the area of learning, whether on soft skills, whether on technical skills. We offer a lot of that on our social media handles free of charge. Thank you, Silas, for having me on this call.
All right. So a special thanks to each and every one of us on this call. Thank you for joining us today, and special appreciation to our Executive Director, Pearl, for joining us today to share your valuable insights. Another thanks to our certified candidates, George, Sandra. I've already thanked you, but we can't thank you enough. Your personal experiences have been very, very, very inspiring. So I hope today's session has given each and everyone on the call a form of clarity and confidence for you to take the next step in your HR journey. Now, I want you to remember this. Whether you are starting, whether you are in the mid-level, or whether you are at a strategic position in your HR career, there is a certification specially made for you. So kindly reach out to us. Our next cohort, which is the 44th cohort, starts on the 13th of September 2025. So do well to invest in your growth and then register, or just give us a call and we'll give you all the details. On behalf of the HR Certification Center, thank you once again for your time, and we look forward to welcoming you to our next cohort. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you, Sandra.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Our certification center commits to a higher standard.
Why do 93% of the world's leading multinational companies prefer certified professionals? Because they tend to be committed to higher standards and ethics and maintain an informed intercultural competency. Whether you're seeking to build a career or to upgrade your HR professional career, you need to get trained and certified at the HR Certification Center today. Our experience in training and certifying HR professionals is unparalleled. We're trusted to offer a comprehensive portfolio of advanced professional credentials for the HR professionals worldwide, and today, more than 500,000 HR professionals worldwide in 125 plus countries proudly maintain our credentials as a mark of higher professional distinction. HR Certification Center. Call or WhatsApp today on 0244 122 855.